The Laws of Ascension, Chapter 85, Magical Beast Classes. So why are you bringing your familiars to class today? Thalia asks Lorik as they walk. Because she asked me to, Lorik replies, causing her to tilt her head. That doesn't sound like you. It's because Leora likes magical beast classes, isn't it? Or you're going to do something to Kaylin. Is that it? No, it's for both, isn't it? She asks with a smug grin. Get out of my head. Damn, rabbit. Lorik says, causing Leora to smack his shoulder. No cursing here, and no fights either. Leora sternly tells them both. You should listen to her master, Naifang adds. I will. Maybe. Lorik says as they get to their destination. The magical beast class is held outside today due to Nixfang and Emberfang. Otherwise, they'd be held inside the classroom. They walked around to the back of the institute, where a lake is. The lake is surrounded by trees, almost like a mini forest behind the institute. Near the lake is a barn with its doors closed. Inside are the friendly magical beasts Miss Marwen raises. There are a few empty corrals around the lake and in the woods. The entire little forest is surrounded by a metal fence. Miss Marwen is waiting for them at the gate. Thank you both for coming, she says as the four walk up to her. Thalia, what are you doing here? I thought you said you had family plans that wouldn't end for another few days, Miss Marwen asks upon seeing Thalia. They ended a bit early, and as it turns out, I know Lorik here. I was pretty surprised when I saw him here. Thalia replies while placing a hand on Lorik's shoulder. You picked the perfect day to come back then. Now, if you'll follow me, I'll show you where we'll be having today's class. Miss Marwen says while opening the gate. What exactly will we be doing today? Vera asks as they walk into the woods. For today, I'd like the students to be able to just examine your familiars. I'm aware you're probably not experts on their species, but if you could answer any questions they have, that would help. But for the most part, I'll only need you to talk about their characteristics, things like what they eat, how they behave, and what they acted like when they were still young. I'm aware they grew up quickly, though, but don't worry if you can't answer them. Just allowing the students to observe and interact with your familiars will be enough. Marwen replies while they walk down the wide dirt path between the trees. They arrive at the barn and find a group of students gathering. There's still time before class starts, and only about half the class is gathered. Thalia, Leora, could you go join the others? Class will begin soon. Yes, good luck, Lorik, Thalia says before turning and leaving. Leora nods and follows after her. Before class begins, is there anything I should know about your familiars? Like, do they have any places they shouldn't be touched or anything like that? Marwen asks them. No, not for Nixfang. Lorik replies as Nixfang bobs her head up and down. Same with Emberfang. Oh, but do you want the students to ride him? Vera asks Marwen. Can you ride a wyvern? Marwen asks in response. As long as they have a saddle, you can. But the saddle isn't made with soul-bound materials. So I have to put it on him first. It can take a bit of time, so I should put it on before class begins if you want to. Vera replies, causing her to think about it. Is it safe? I don't want my students to get hurt. Yes, as long as they stay on the ground. I have 2 harnesses that can hook onto the saddle. But as long as Emberfang doesn't start flying, they won't need them. And he won't fly unless I tell him to. Vera replies, Then if you don't mind, that would be great. Same for you and Nixfang Lorik. If you don't mind, I'd like if the students could try riding them. I don't mind. Do you need help with the saddle, Vera? Lorik replies as red mist pours off Vera. It gathers and grows next to her before a wyvern appears in it. He opens his mouth to roar, revealing his fangs before stopping abruptly. He's taller than Nixfang, standing at about 8 feet tall. He stands on his back legs and wings. Red scales cover it, and he has big blue eyes. His tail curls up and lifts off the ground near the end. A large saddle about as tall as Vera appears on the ground next to her. She took it out of her ring after Emberfang appeared. That would be great, Lorik. It can be a pain putting this on, Vera says as a bell rings. As they talked, the rest of the students showed up. A few come running, having been on the path when the bell rang. I'm going to greet my class and inform them of what we're doing today. Take your time with the saddle, as this can take a while. And thank you both for coming again. Marwen says before turning and walking to her students, They're standing next to the lake and staring at Emberfang and Nixfang. Are you excited, Vera? Lorik asks while walking around Emberfang. He crouches down before they start strapping the saddle to him. A bit? Vera replies before telling Lorik what to do. They finish strapping the saddle to Emberfang after a few minutes. I do not envy you, having to do this just to ride him, Lorik says, causing Vera to sigh. Yeah, it's not fun, though I'm excited to try flying. Vera replies. You haven't flown on him yet? Lorik asks, causing her to shake her head. I only got the saddle the day before the finals. And you know what happened after that. I've been too busy to try flying, but I managed to practice putting the saddle on him, Vera replies, causing Lorik to laugh. So how does that harness work? Lorik asks as they finish adjusting the saddle. It's strapped around his wings, so you'll sit right between them. It's mostly made of leather, but there are a few metal hoops on top. The harnesses have ropes that you clip onto the hoops. They'll hold you in place and won't come undone easily. It makes it impossible to get up or turn around, though. But the harness can be adjusted, so anyone could wear them. But since we won't be flying, we won't need to use them. Vera replies before Marwyn walks over to them. Are you ready? She asks them. Yep, the saddle's all secure, Vera replies as Lorik nods. All right, Marwyn says excitedly before turning to her class. Class, as usual, will start by letting you examine, feel, and feed the beasts. Make sure you're careful, though. They may be familiars, but they'll still bite you if you kick them. Marwyn says while looking at one student in particular. They're a woman who grabs their wrist. Bandages can be seen wrapped around her wrist under her sleeve. She looks embarrassed and quickly looks away. The students all walk over and gather around the two familiars. Since they're next to each other, they end up in the center. The students all take turns petting and feeling the two familiars. A few feed them the meat Marwyn gives them. Though she makes them wear gloves first, as it's raw meat, they're feeding them. Vera gives them a metal stick they stick the meat on. It's what she uses to feed Emberfang, as his mouth is too big, and he'd bite her hand too. Nixfang is careful not to bite their hands. She also talks with the students. A few of them were surprised to hear her talking. They quickly start asking her all sorts of questions. This continues for 20 minutes before Marwyn claps her hands. It's time to move on. Those who want to try riding them, come line up, she says before the students all gather in front of her. They gather in two separate lines. A few students don't line up and stand back instead. Can I run when they ride me? Nixfang asks Lorik as the students line up. Yes, but don't run at full speed. Keep it slow enough so the students don't freak out. Also, don't go too far, Lorik replies. Lorik, this is the line for Nixfang. Please make sure you stay within the clearing here, Marwyn says before turning to Leora. Thalia is the first in line. She used her law, the law of speed, to get there first. I'm first, Lorik, she says with a smile. I can't believe how childish you are, using your law to get first in line, Lorik says as she walks over and stops next to Nixfang. She just smiles as Nixfang crouches down to let her on. Are we not doing two at a time? Nixfang asks as Lorik stops the next person. No, it'll be easier if it's one at a time. Just run a lap around the lake and come back, Lorik replies, causing Nixfang to nod. She takes off, not at full speed, but faster than her walk. Shortly after she does, Emberfang chases after her. Two students are on his back, sitting on the saddle and holding onto the handlebars. Emberfang runs, moving both his wings forward together before moving his legs together. He's slower than Nixfang on the ground. Nixfang could probably do 2 laps around the lake before Emberfang did one, if she didn't have to stop to trade students. Nixfang slows down to a walk before stopping in front of Lorik. Thalia reaches out for Lorik after Nixfang stops. She doesn't move until Lorik sighs and walks over to help her off. Want me to set the stage for Kaylin? She asks, whispering as he helps her off. No. Actually, yeah, that would help, Lorik replies while helping her down. You can thank me later down below, Thalia replies before walking toward the line for Emberfang. She starts talking to a man at the end of the line. He's a few inches taller than Thalia, standing about 5.5 feet tall. He smiles as she starts talking. What did you two talk about? Leora asks. She's next in line, right after Thalia. She watched them whisper to each other and got a bad feeling. especially after Thalia went right over to Kaylin. We were just discussing something. Don't worry, we won't start any fights and I won't threaten anyone, Lorik says while helping her onto Nyx Fang. Nyx Fang takes off, a little slower this time. Lorik sees them talking and just sighs. Lorik and Vera spend the next half an hour helping everyone get on and ride their familiars. Since Nyx Fang was faster, some of the students got to ride her twice. After they've all ridden them both once, Marwyn claps to get their attention.